There are moments in life when we feel that something is stirring deep within our hearts, an inner voice calling us to something greater, something more than we've ever known. You might not be able to put it into words, but you can feel it. The sense that change is coming, and it's coming in ways you least expect. I want to talk to you today about the signs that God is about to change your life forever. These aren't the obvious signs, the ones you expect to see. These are the unexpected moments, the moments that may even feel like challenges or trials at first, but in reality, they are the moments that God is using to prepare you for something bigger, something greater. Today, I'm going to share with you three unexpected signs that God is at work in your life, moving in ways you may not yet understand, but ways that will transform you from the inside out. I want you to think back to a time in your life when you faced a challenge. Maybe it was a loss, a setback, a betrayal, or even a failure. Whatever it was, it felt like the end. But I want to tell you today that the struggle you're facing right now is not the end of your story. In fact, it could be the very thing that God is using to mold you, to shape you into the person you need to be for the future that He has prepared for you. There's a reason why the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 35. What you're going through right now, though painful and difficult, is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It's a sign that He is preparing you for something greater. I know it's hard. You might feel like giving up, but I want to remind you that God has never promised that the road would be easy. He promised that He would be with us, even in the darkest valleys. The struggle is where the transformation happens. It's where your character is built, where your faith is tested, and where you learn to trust God more deeply than ever before. When you feel that weight pressing down on you, remember this: God is not only present in your pain, He is working in it, through it, and beyond it. When the storm rages, know that it's only preparing you for the calm that follows. God is not just bringing you through this, He is using this moment to change you, to strengthen you, and to elevate you. Don't quit when things are tough. Remember that what looks like a setback is often a setup for God's plan to unfold in your life. Sometimes God doesn't speak to us in loud, dramatic ways. He doesn't always reveal His plans with signs that are obvious or grand. Often the most powerful shifts in our lives come through moments of stillness. Moments that may seem small and insignificant on the surface, but are actually divine whispers in your soul. It's in the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts that God often speaks the loudest. You might be sitting in your room, staring out the window, or walking down the street when something stirs within you. It might be a sudden sense of peace or an overwhelming feeling of love. It might be a thought or an idea that comes to mind, something you never expected. These quiet moments are signs that God is speaking to you. They are His way of preparing your heart for the next season of your life. Often we're so caught up in the busyness of life that we miss these moments. But it's in the stillness that God works most powerfully. The Bible reminds us that the Lord is near to all who call on Him, to all who call on Him in truth. Psalm 145:18. Even when you don't see it, God is near. Even in the silence, God is working. God might not be using fireworks or earthquakes to get your attention. He may be using a quiet nudge in your spirit. You may not even recognize it as a sign at first, but if you pay attention, you'll see that God is revealing something new to you in those still moments. That peaceful whisper is the beginning of change. And when God speaks to you in the quiet, listen, because it's often in the smallest moments that He plants the seeds of the most significant changes in your life. I know there are prayers you've been praying for years, prayers for breakthrough, for healing, for direction, for purpose. Some of those prayers may feel like they've gone unanswered, and you may have started to wonder if God is hearing you at all. But I want to tell you today that God has not forgotten your prayers. In fact, some of the greatest blessings in your life will come from the prayers that you think have gone unanswered. You see, God doesn't always answer prayers the way we expect. Sometimes the answer is no, not because he doesn't love us, but because he has something better in store for us. Sometimes the answer is not yet because he's preparing us for what's coming. Sometimes the answer is silence because he's teaching us to trust him in the waiting. But if you look back at your life, you realize that some of your most unexpected blessings came not from the prayers that were answered in the way you expected, but from the prayers that were answered in ways you never could have imagined. God is always working behind the scenes. When you can't see it, he is moving mountains, opening doors, and orchestrating your life in ways you can't understand. Sometimes the things we want most are not the things that God knows are best for us, but in his wisdom, he gives us exactly what we need at the right time. There are blessings in your life right now that you may not have recognized as blessings because they came in unexpected forms. And as you continue to trust God, you'll see that his plans for you are greater than anything you could have imagined. Friends, if you're feeling discouraged today, if you're feeling like change will never come, I want you to know that God is moving in your life right now. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but he is at work in ways that will change your life forever. The struggles you face today are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a new chapter. The quiet moments you experience are not insignificant. They are the moments God is using to speak to you. And the prayers you've prayed, even the ones that seem unanswered, are being answered in ways that you may not yet understand. God is about to do something incredible in your life. He is preparing you for something greater than you ever imagined. So don't give up. Don't lose heart. Keep trusting, keep praying, keep believing, because the best is yet to come. When you look back on this moment, you'll see how God used the unexpected to change your life forever. The challenges and struggles you face in life are not merely obstacles to overcome. They are part of a divine plan that has been set in motion for your growth and transformation. It is easy to become overwhelmed by the weight of difficult circumstances, to feel as if the hardships you're enduring are the end of the road. But I want to encourage you today to see those struggles through a different lens. They are not the final chapter of your story, they are simply the beginning of a new one. Every trial you encounter holds within it the potential for deep personal transformation. It is in the hardest moments of life that we often find the greatest opportunities to change, to grow, and to become the person we were always meant to be. When everything feels like it's falling apart, remember that sometimes things need to fall apart in order for something greater to come together. You may not see it in the moment, but your struggles are setting the stage for something bigger, something that will reveal itself in time. Think of the process of refining gold. The gold doesn't remain in its raw, unshaped form. It must be heated to extreme temperatures, purified through intense fire before it can shine in all its glory. In the same way, we are refined through life's challenges. The fire of hardship doesn't destroy us, it strengthens us. It burns away the impurities that prevent us from stepping into our full potential, leaving behind a stronger, more resilient version of ourselves. It's in these moments of adversity that we learn what we're truly capable of and uncover strength we never knew we had. It's also important to remember that these struggles often reveal our deeper purpose. When we go through difficult times, we are forced to dig deep within ourselves, to search for the faith, the courage, and the perseverance that we may not have realized existed. This process helps us align more closely with our God-given calling as we begin to see things in a new light. The struggles you face may be preparing you for a role or a mission that you can't yet comprehend, but one that is essential to the greater story God is writing for your life. It's through these challenges that you often gain the wisdom, experience, and compassion that will later serve others. God never wastes a moment of pain. Every difficulty has purpose, even if you can't fully see it right now. Your life is not a series of random events or meaningless suffering. There is a bigger plan at work, a divine narrative that unfolds through both the triumphs and the trials. When you look back on your life, you may see that the most difficult seasons were the ones that led you to greater understanding, greater joy, and a deeper relationship with God. So don't be discouraged when life gets hard. Don't see your struggles as signs of defeat or failure. Instead, view them as opportunities for growth, opportunities for God to mold you into the person He created you to be. The pain you're enduring today is not the end of your story. It is merely a chapter in a much larger story that God is unfolding. And in that story, you are destined for greater things, things that will be revealed in their perfect time. Keep trusting, keep believing, and remember, struggles are not the end. They are often the beginning of something new, something beautiful, and something far greater than you could ever imagine. Change and guidance from God often arrive in the most unexpected ways, not through grand gestures or dramatic events, but through the quiet, subtle moments that catch us off guard when we least expect them. We often seek clarity in the loudest, most noticeable ways, waiting for thunderous signs or clear, unmistakable messages that seem obvious and undeniable. But what we fail to realize is that God doesn't always work in loud external ways. More often, He speaks in the quiet of our hearts, in the stillness when we are alone with our thoughts, when the world around us is silent and our minds are free from distraction. It's in those quiet moments when everything seems calm and unremarkable that God is often preparing us for what's next. The world might be rushing around you, and you might feel as though everything is moving at a fast pace. But in those brief moments of stillness, God is trying to speak directly to your spirit. It's easy to overlook these moments because they seem insignificant, but these are the moments when God is at work in your life, planting seeds of inspiration, peace, and understanding. Take a moment to think about the times in your life when you've experienced real clarity or peace. Most of us have had those moments when out of nowhere we feel a deep sense of comfort or direction. Perhaps it was during a walk alone, sitting in a quiet room, or during a time of reflection. These seemingly small moments are often where God is most present, offering us guidance and insight for the next steps in our journey. In a world filled with noise, it is easy to get distracted and lose sight of these moments of divine intervention. We are conditioned to think that change must be loud, dramatic, or overwhelming to be real or important. But in truth, many of the most profound moments of growth and direction come during our quietest times. God is not distant, He is near, and He is constantly whispering to our hearts. The key is learning to listen, to quiet our minds long enough to hear His voice. There are times when God may seem silent, but His silence is not a sign of His absence. It's an invitation for us to draw closer, to open our hearts more fully to His guidance in these quiet spaces. We can hear His whispers more clearly, and it's there that He gently leads us toward transformation, urging us to take steps we might not have considered otherwise. When you feel that inner peace or a sudden sense of inspiration, recognize it for what it is: God's guidance, quietly shaping your next steps. Sometimes God's guidance doesn't come with grand revelations or a lightning bolt of understanding. Instead, it comes like a soft nudge in your spirit, a subtle idea that grows over time. It's in these quiet nudges that we are most vulnerable and open to change, as they allow us to align our hearts with God's will without the interference of noise or distractions. Through these moments, God is preparing us to move forward, to make decisions, and to trust in the path He has laid out for us. As you move through your life, remember to embrace the quiet moments. Seek out those times of solitude, even if they seem small or unimportant. Trust that in these moments, God is working within you. Listen closely for His voice, and you may find that the guidance you've been seeking has been there all along, waiting for you to pause, reflect, and hear His whisper. So, next time you find yourself in a peaceful moment, don't rush through it or dismiss it as insignificant. That might be the exact moment when God is preparing you for what's next, gently leading you to a deeper understanding, a new direction, or a renewed sense of purpose. In life, we all face moments of uncertainty and longing. We pray for things we desperately desire, whether it's for healing, success, love, or direction. At times, we feel the weight of waiting and wonder why our prayers seem unanswered. It's easy to question whether God hears us or if He's simply not paying attention to our needs. But I want to remind you today that God's timing is perfect. And the silence or delay you may be experiencing is not a sign that God has forgotten you. It's a part of His divine plan. God is not bound by time as we are. We live in a world where time feels like a constant pressure. Everything has to happen at a specific moment, and if it doesn't, it feels like we're losing out on something important. But God's perspective is different. He sees the beginning and the end of every situation, and He knows exactly when the right moment will come for you. His sense of timing is flawless, and it's rooted in His love and wisdom. There are times when we ask for something and the answer feels like it's no or not yet. These answers can be difficult to accept. We want things now. We want resolution now. We want our prayers answered in the way we envision. But I want to encourage you that a no or a not yet is not a denial of your prayer. It's God's way of protecting you and guiding you to something even greater than what you initially asked for. Imagine for a moment that you're a child asking your parent for something, perhaps a toy or a treat. As a child, you might not understand why your parent says not yet or wait, but the parent's wisdom allows them to see the bigger picture. They know that giving you that treat or toy at the wrong time might harm you, or it might not be the right thing for you in that season of life. In the same way, God, as our loving Father, knows when something is truly best for us. Sometimes He has to delay our desires to prepare us for the future He is crafting for us. We often don't see the bigger picture, and that's why trusting in God's timing can be so challenging. We only see a small part of the puzzle while God is orchestrating everything from a place of perfect understanding. There may be lessons to learn, character to be developed, or circumstances to align before we can step into the blessing we seek. It's easy to become frustrated during these waiting periods, but remember that God is working behind the scenes. Every delay is purposeful, and every moment of silence is a part of His divine plan. The Bible teaches us that God works all things together for the good of those who love Him, Romans 8:28. This means that no matter how long the wait or how silent things may seem, God is always at work in our lives even when we don't see it. His plan is good, and He has promised to provide for us at just the right moment. Think about the seasons in your life when you've looked back and realized that God's timing was perfect. There were times when you didn't understand why something didn't work out as you wanted, only to see later that the delay led you to something better or protected you from something harmful. It may have taken years for you to realize it, but in the end, God's perfect timing always becomes evident. In those moments when you feel like your prayers are unanswered, I encourage you to trust that God is not ignoring you. He is listening, and He is preparing you for something that is beyond what you can imagine. The delay, the silence, or the no is part of a greater plan that is unfolding in your life. It may be difficult to understand now, but if you keep faith and trust in His timing, you will see that God's answers are always for your ultimate good. So when you face a time of waiting, don't lose heart. Trust in God's timing, even if you don't understand it. Know that He is always working, always guiding you, and always leading you toward a future that is better than anything you could have planned for yourself. Keep praying, keep seeking His will, and know that in His perfect timing, everything will come together according to His perfect plan. Remember, God is never late. His timing is never off. It's always exactly what you need when you need it for His glory and for your good. Life has a way of throwing us into difficult situations, times when everything seems to be falling apart, when the challenges feel insurmountable, and when we feel alone and uncertain. In those moments, it's easy to lose sight of hope, to question why things are happening the way they are, and to wonder if God is even present. But it is precisely in those times of difficulty that faith becomes not only important, but essential. Faith, in its truest form, is not about the absence of struggle or the absence of pain. It is about trusting that, even in the midst of the storm, God is working behind the scenes. Our difficulties may not always make sense in the moment, and we may feel as though God is distant, but we must remember that God never leaves us. His presence is not determined by what we see or feel. He is always with us, working on our behalf, even when we can't detect it. The Bible tells us that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. Even in our most painful moments, God is closest to us. In the times when we are weak, He is our strength. It is in those broken, vulnerable places that He does some of His deepest work in us. The trials we face are not God's punishment. Rather, they are opportunities for us to grow, to build resilience, and to trust Him more fully. When we face difficulty, it's easy to see it as something negative or something we wish to escape. But in reality, difficulties are the very things that God uses to prepare us for the future He has planned. They refine us like gold in the fire, burning away the impurities and making us stronger, purer, and more focused on His purpose for our lives. These trials stretch our faith, deepen our character, and equip us for the plans He has for us, even if we can't yet understand or see them clearly. Think about the times in your life when you faced struggles that in hindsight were transformative. Maybe you didn't see it at the time, but those challenges made you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Maybe they led you to a place where you could help someone else who was going through a similar trial. God uses the tough times to build our character, to teach us how to rely on Him fully, and to prepare us for the blessings and opportunities that lie ahead. It's in our moments of struggle that we have the chance to truly trust God. Faith doesn't flourish in comfort and ease, it grows in the soil of adversity. When everything is going well, it's easy to trust God. But when life feels like it's falling apart, that's when we have to hold on to our faith most tightly. It's when we don't understand why things are happening, or when we feel as though we're at the end of our rope, that God is still working in the background, doing things we can't see and preparing us for something beyond our current circumstance. God's promises remain true even when we're going through difficult times. He has promised never to leave us nor forsake us. He has promised that He works all things together for the good of those who love Him. So when you face hardship, hold fast to your faith. Don't let your circumstances dictate your belief. Trust that God is at work even when you don't see the immediate evidence. He is preparing you, refining you, and equipping you for what's to come. It's important to remember that God doesn't waste our pain. Every challenge, every heartache, every moment of struggle is part of His larger plan for us. Even though we may not understand the why right now, we can trust that He is using everything in our lives to shape us for the future He's calling us to. The trials you face today are not the end of your story. They are simply the preparation for the next chapter that God has written for you. So, during difficult times, don't lose heart. Keep your faith strong even when the path seems unclear. Trust that God is working even in the silence and that He is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. The challenges you face are not punishments, they are steps in the process of becoming the person you were meant to be. Hold on to your faith because the God who has been faithful in the past will continue to be faithful in the future. In life, we often find ourselves waiting for blessings, hoping for the things we prayed for, dreaming of the rewards we believe we deserve. We picture blessings in very specific forms: the perfect job, the ideal relationship, financial stability, or even good health. But what if the blessings we are waiting for aren't always the way we expect them to be? What if God's blessings come in forms that we don't recognize at first, perhaps disguised as challenges or unanswered prayers? It's in these unexpected forms that God's wisdom and love shine through, offering us deeper blessings than we could have imagined. When we encounter struggles or face difficult times, we often view them as setbacks, as obstacles, or as signs of being abandoned by God. But the reality is that sometimes the very challenges we are facing are the blessings we've been asking for, wrapped in different packages. It's easy to miss them when we're focused solely on what we want and how we expect things to unfold. However, by shifting our perspective, we can start to see that what feels like a setback may actually be a setup for something greater. God's blessings are not always immediate or obvious. Sometimes the way He answers our prayers is not by giving us exactly what we think we want, but by leading us through something difficult that teaches us valuable lessons. These lessons, although sometimes painful, often open doors to greater opportunities, deeper relationships, and a stronger faith. By trusting God through these challenges, we discover new strengths and wisdom that we wouldn't have gained otherwise. In some cases, unanswered prayers are actually the greatest blessings. We may pray for something specific, a certain job, a particular relationship, or a solution to a problem, only to have it not work out the way we had hoped. Initially, we may feel rejected or discouraged, but as time goes on, we often see that God had a better plan all along. The job we wanted may have led us down an unfulfilling path. The relationship we sought may have caused more pain than peace, or the solution we wanted may not have been the right one. God's wisdom is greater than our understanding, and His answers to our prayers are often more aligned with our long term happiness and growth than what we initially envisioned. The Bible reminds us in Isaiah 55:8, 9, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." This verse beautifully illustrates the truth that God sees the bigger picture, the entire landscape of our lives, while we often focus only on the narrow view before us. His ways are higher, and His wisdom far surpasses our understanding. Sometimes He withholds something from us because He has something better in store, or He leads us through trials because He knows that the growth we'll experience will be worth it in the end. When you look back on your life, think about the times when you've experienced disappointment or heartache. Now, look at where you are today. How many of those challenges, failures, or unanswered prayers turned out to be a blessing in disguise? Maybe the job you didn't get led you to a career that fulfilled your passions. Maybe the relationship that ended opened the door for a healthier, more loving partnership. Maybe the period of struggle and uncertainty brought you closer to God and helped you develop a deeper sense of trust in His plans for your life. By learning to recognize the blessings in disguise, we open ourselves to a deeper appreciation for God's wisdom and His perfect timing. We begin to see that His love for us is not limited to the moments of ease and success, but it is also found in the moments of difficulty and waiting. Every challenge, every unanswered prayer, every detour for our plans can become an opportunity to grow, to trust, and to experience God's greater plan for our lives. So the next time you find yourself facing a challenge or dealing with what seems like an unanswered prayer, try to shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on the disappointment, ask God to show you the blessing that is hidden in the situation. Ask Him to help you see His hand at work, guiding you through it and preparing you for something greater. As you do, you'll begin to see that God's blessings often come in forms that we never expected, but in the end, they are exactly what we needed. In life, there are moments when everything feels uncertain, when struggles seem endless and the future appears